At Pi Network, accessibility is one of our core values. This means accessibility not only for pioneers, but also the growing Pi developer community building real apps and utilities. We're proud to boast one of the most accessible Web3 integrated developer platforms in the world. With our simple integrations, developers don't need any prior blockchain or crypto experience to get started. During this phase of the enclosed mainnet, one of our main focuses is building utility on Pi Network, supporting developers to build awesome applications that address real-life use cases and enrich the lives of pioneers. We hope you enjoy the video, and feel free to share this video with your developer friends and colleagues who may also be interested.
Our goal is to present an overview of the SDK and the APIs, which we call the Pi platform. And then we'll also give you an introduction to our demo application, which is essentially a boilerplate that could be used by you. If not, it can also be used to review for integration purposes, how to set your applications up. So to start, the Pi platform, it has two functionalities. The first functionality is connecting with a Pi user. And so the way we do this is through an access token. And this access token corresponds then to a user to be able to create a sign-in or to create a display utilizing this user's information. And then the second functionality is payment functionality. And so this is the ability at the moment to request a user to pay you or to pay the application in Pi. And that request will sync directly to their wallet, which we call the Pi wallet. And you'll be able to work them through the payment process in order to facilitate that. And for this first part, I'm going to go over what the user sees. And that way you get an understanding of how it works from a user perspective. And then Aurelian's going to walk you through the developer perspective on the back end after that. So we have here our demo app. And so this is the boilerplate I was talking about. And it is a Pi bakery. But on this demo app, we have a few Pis for sale, and we also have a sign-in, sign-out feature. And so the user sign-in is there, as I was mentioning earlier, it utilizes an access token. And so by simply clicking sign-in, this application will communicate with the Pi servers via the SDK that's been integrated into your application, and will obtain the user information. In this case, it's the username. And so you can see when there is no one signed in, there's no user information. And then once the user signed in, you can see that username there on the right. And to note, the user for this application needs to be signed in or authenticated in order to process payments. And that's because you need to have the user information via the SDK that's been integrated into your application, and will obtain the user information. In this case, it's the username. And so you can see when there is no one signed in, there's no user information. And then once the user signed in, you can see that username there on the right. And to note, the user for this application needs to be signed in or authenticated in order to process payments. And that's because you need to have the user information in order to be able to process payments for that user. So now we'll begin the payment flow. And so I'm looking at the application, and I want to buy an apple pie. All I do as the user is I click order. And once I click order, then the payment flow changes. And so this screen pops up over top of your application. And this is the Pi wallet payment flow. And what this is controlled by the Pi platform, which allows security for the user when interacting with the applications. And so this is just an initial loading screen. There's nothing for the user to do here. Everything's being handled on the back end, which will be talked about in just a few moments. Once the payment is built and ready, then the user is displayed this screen. This is just a confirmation screen where the user can see all of the information that will go into the order or into the transaction. They can see here, okay, I clicked on buy an apple pie or order an apple pie. That was 3 test pie. So I can confirm that that is right. And I've got that my address is here as well. And I can see I'm ordering an apple pie. So I say, great, I hit pay with test pie. And now it brings me to the confirmation screen. And this is where blockchain comes into play. So on a blockchain, you have to have what's called the secret key or the passphrase in order to be able to approve a transaction. And so we need to collect that passphrase from the user. In the case of Pi, that's a 24-word string that is used to confirm the wallet address, which is the user saying, I agree to this transaction. Here is my passphrase to confirm my agreement. And this is a cryptographically secure and verifiable method in order to send transactions on the blockchain. And it is, from a brute force standpoint, extremely difficult to guess, if not impossible to guess these passphrases. And also at the same time, in order to protect this passphrase, because if it were to be collected by the developer could then